I love video games. I love video games. There's something really exciting about being the hero and, saving the day. But here's the thing about video games. They lie to us. See, all these heroes in the video games, they look like they're fearless, like they face danger without being scared. They're lying. Every hero I've ever met is scared to death. But it's what they do when they're scared. That's what makes them a hero. And that's what we're going to talk about today from our hero from the Bible, is someone that was scared. But what he did when he was scared is what made him a hero.
Are you brave? Have you ever faced something scary and then worked up your courage and faced your fears? Okay, let me give you an example. You know when you're laying in bed in the middle of the night and you hear that noise under your bed and it's like, it's a monster, it's gonna be a monster, I notice that it's gonna eat me and it's gonna think I'm delicious. But you finally work up your courage, face your fears, look under the bed only to discover that it's your cat, Mr. Mittens, and he's all like, "Arr!" And you're like, wow, that wasn't nothing to be afraid about. Or maybe you're afraid to speak in front of the class and you wanna throw up because you're so nervous, like, I'm gonna be sick, and you have to stand in front of the class and present your, history project, whatever it is, and you face your fears and you give your presentation. See, life has all kinds of little scary stuff in it, and so does following God. That's right, following God can get scary. And each of us has a really important question to ask. Do we only follow God when it's easy, or are we solid enough Christians to follow God when it's scary? Following God can get scary. And that's actually our big idea. We can trust God even when following him is scary. So one guy in the Bible knew this really well, and he was a man by the name of Daniel. Out of all the heroes of the Bible, one of my absolute favorites. Daniel had this high position in the city he lived in. The king had given him a lot of power, and other people that worked with the king wanted Daniel's job and his power. See, Daniel was an honorable and good man, and the king really loved him. So these people that were jealous of Daniel, they searched for anything they could to get Daniel fired. Daniel prayed 3 times a day to God right there in front of his window. Even though he was in this city that hated God, he prayed 3 times a day in this city to his God. So the men who wanted Daniel fired, they had an idea. They got the king to pass a law that said that no one could pray to any other person other than the king. If anyone prayed to anyone else other than the king, they would be instantly sentenced to death, and they would have to spend the night in the lion's den. Now that's not like a petting zoo of lions. That's not like, hello you cool cats, and you're like petting lions. No, that's like a death sentence where you're thrown in a pit of hungry lions and they eat you. So now Daniel's prayer time just became very scary. If Daniel prayed like usual, he would give up his life. Even though Daniel knew following God was risky, we see in verse 10 that Daniel prayed like he did every other day. He didn't let fear stop him. He was petrified, guys. I know sometimes we think that heroes are never scared. Heroes are the ones that do something in spite of the fact that they're scared. And what God did in that moment for Daniel is he gave him courage to be bold. I don't think Daniel was bold on his own. I think God gave Daniel the courage to be bold. Daniel followed God because he trusted God. So when Daniel prayed, people saw him, and they had Daniel arrested and thrown into the lion's den. Daniel loved God and following him so much, and he was willing to put his life in danger to do what God asked him to do, to be faithful to his relationship with God. I think I'd be scared. I'd be a coward. I'd be like,
maybe I don't have to pray today, or this week, or this month, or maybe I don't have to pray at all, because I really like my life.
But Daniel, God gave Daniel courage, and he did what was right, even though it was scary. The next morning, the king went to the den, and he had the soldiers open the tomb in this den that the lions were in, and he called down to Daniel, and he said, Daniel, has your God delivered you? And the lions' mouths had been shut. Daniel had survived. They didn't hurt Daniel in the middle of the night. These hungry lions laid down and didn't hurt Daniel because God was with him. Daniel knew that it was God that had gotten him through the scary time. We see in verse 21 and 22, it says that he told the king how God had protected him from the lions. Notice he even gives God the credit. If I was Daniel, I'd kind of be like, yeah, I just took out those lions. But no, Daniel was like, you know something? I was scared, but I trusted God, and God delivered me even in the scary time. The king saw how great God was, and because Daniel trusted God, he sent a message out to everyone in the kingdom, telling them the amazing truth about this God. He said everyone must follow the God of Daniel because this God is a real God. See, following God and being faithful to follow God even when it's scary, even when it's hard, is going to be your biggest witness to others. It's going to help others follow Jesus too. So my question to all of us, are you going to continue to trust and follow God no matter what? Everyone's watching us. And they want to see if you are really a Christian, if you do really love God like you say you do. We can trust God even when following him gets scary. So I don't know what that looks like for you today. Maybe for some of you, it's sharing God with others is scary. Maybe for some of you, it's the friendships you have. I don't know what it is. And you're going to get a chance to talk about that. But remember, no matter what you're going through, no matter how scary it is, God is always with you, even when it gets scary. And you can trust him. We love you guys.